Kashmir proudly carries a heritage of thousands of years of culture with well-documented history. Kashmiriyat of today carries this legacy. Dig deep into the roots of the Kashmiri culture and we discover that its origin is the same Hindu culture which has left an indelible imprint on all the subcultures seen in the Indian subcontinent. Take a walk down the path of the Kashmiri history and watch yourself get enthralled by it. The remnants of some of the architectural spectacles lay testimony to its past grandeur, each having its own remarkable significance, whether it is the fine-tuning of the almanac at the Vicharnag or the science of astronomy being reflected at the Rattan temple. These, along with the people, the spirit and the legacy of Kashmir, are what make up its resplendent heritage.
The past grandeur, heritage and opulence of the Kashmir Valley surpasses human imagination. And a sense of it can be felt by visiting some of the architectural marvels in the valley, especially the temples. Unfortunately, most of the magnificent temples lie as mere ruins today, however, still holding to their majestic spirit and history.
The Sun Temple of Rattan is located on a picturesque plateau from where the Kashmir Valley is visible.
Now, this temple, Rattan, was dedicated to sun god and constructed by Aditya. And people believe that the foundation was laid according to the astronomical table, which was known to the ancient scholars of Kashmir.
The entire temple complex has been conceptualized in a way to give the idea of the solar system with the sun god himself sitting in the center. The base of the main sanctorium, has 365 idols depicting each day of the year. Few smaller temples surrounding the main sanctorium depict the planets and the four seasons. The knowledge of the creators of the temple complex about the planetary system of our solar system is simply astonishing. The architects enlive the thoughts and ideas of the astronomers, and in turn the sculptors put life into the stone carvings and idols in the temple complex. The temples built in the Kashmir Valley were perfect examples of science of Vastu Shastra, the study of Earth's magnetic fields, and combining it with the science of Vastu Shastra was unparalleled in the contemporary history. Parihaspora was chosen as the capital city by the great king Lalitaditya, owing to his higher elevation. A visit to the plateau and the remnants of the vast temple complex throw enough light on the status of the opulence the town must have enjoyed during the reign of the powerful King Lalitaditya around 1300 years ago. Situated around 21 kilometers northeast of the capital city of Srinagar, the town has been very prominently mentioned in Kalhan's Raj Tarangini, which was written thousands of years ago. He writes that the emperor used 84,000 tolas of gold, translating to around 840 kilograms, to make the idol of Lord Vishnu. Though the stone remains are existing in the shape of ruins, one can imagine that the barbarian plunderers who ruled Kashmir from 14th century must have taken possession of these precious idols of the temples. The destruction unleashed by the rabid Islamic rulers manifests itself through the stone ruins, but the carvings done on them are the standing testimony of the craftsmanship of the then Kashmiri artisans. King Lalitaditya shifted his capital from Srinagar to the plateau of Parihaspura to save it from occasionally rampaging water of the river Vitasta. But he might not be knowing that someday down the lanes of history, some xenophobic rulers will come and destroy the articles of faith created by him in the name of their own faith. The then Kashmiri society believed in Advaitvad, which means non-dualism and monotheistic entity of God. However, they, in order to establish contact of Atma with different manifestations of Paramatma, that is God, constructed abodes for the deities. These places were used to express their undiluted love for the Lord and pay a tribute to all gunas, which means virtues of the Almighty. The two temples, one dedicated to Lord Vishnu and another to Lord Shiva, constructed by King Avantivarman in the 9th century, depict the phenomenon of creation and sustenance of the universe by the Supreme Power. Situated around 30 kilometers southeast of the capital city of Srinagar, the Shiva and Vishnu temples of Avantipura tell the tales of the richness of the ancient Kashmiri architecture.
A very interesting facet of Kashmir culture is its architecture, and especially the temple architecture, the stone architecture. Take the Avantipura ruins. They are unique in their own type. The pillars, the foundation, and the stones, stone carving, and above all, the frontispiece which were placed on these temples, of which Khanna says, he says that I collected much of history from the frontispiece of the temples which he visited during his lifetime.
The Shankar Gaurishvara temple is located in Rattan near Baramulla. The temple was built by Shankaravarman of Kashmir, who ruled between 883 and 902 AD. He was the successor to King Avantivarman. Rattan during his reign was known as Shankarpatna. This was the King Shankarvarman's capital city. It is 27 kilometers away from Srinagar city. He dedicated the temple to Lord Shiva. Apart from this temple, he also built another temple next to it in honor of his wife Sugandha and named it Sugandesha Temple. This temple was also dedicated to Lord Shiva, built to the same plan and with intricate carvings. However, the hammers of the iconoclasts couldn't dilapidate the soul of both these temples.
Some of the temples, however, were saved from destruction. They act as witness to the past glory of Kashmir. Every remaining block of the stone telling its own tale.
Shankaracharya Temple is the living monument standing tall in the middle of the Srinagar city and connecting the grand past of Kashmir with modern times. It is magnificently existing atop the Gopadri hill. The temple dedicated to Lord Shiva was for the first time constructed by King Gopaditya, who ruled around 300 years before Christ. The old historical accounts of Nilmat Puran and Raj Tarangini maintain that the rocks from where the temple stones were carved out were ferried from another hill. Since entire landscape around the Gopadri hill was part of a huge lake, the stones were transported in boats and then onwards taken uphill on elephants. At the time, it was known as Jeshteshwar Temple. Jeshteshwar is another name for Lord Shiva. It is mentioned in historical records that Adi Shankaracharya, during his travel to northern India, stayed at the temple. Throughout the landscape of Kashmir, we can see a trail of temple ruins. Such magnificent heritage of the mankind has been destructed by the Islamic bigots. However, in the case of Jeshteshwar or Shankaracharya temple, the script was changed. No harm was done to the temple structure, but Shiva Linga was broken and removed from the sanctum sanctorium. The marauders tried to give Islamic color to the structure, creating falsified stories like Suleiman, one of the prophets of Islam, visited the place a couple of thousand years ago. An unsuccessful attempt to coin a new name, Takht-e-Suleiman, was made. Neither Nilmat, Puran or Kalhan's Raj Tarangini, so far the best treatise on the history of ancient Kashmir, mention the said name. Just as this was an unsuccessful attempt to adulterate the history of a 2,000-year-old temple, there were abortive steps taken to change the texture of the language in the valley.
इसके बारे में हम कह सकते हैं कि इस वक्त की कश्मीरी में भी हम संस्कृत के जो वो असरात हैं वो देख सकते हैं। इसके अल्फाज में, शब्दावली में, मिसाल के तौर पर संस्कृत से जो शब्द कश्मीरी में आए हैं उनमें जो ध्वनिक चेंज हुआ है, वॉवेल और कॉन्सोनेंट की तब्दीलियाँ हुई है, उनके बारे में सेट रूल्स है। जैसे संस्कृत का श जो है कश्मीरी के ह में चेंज होता है। फॉर एग्जांपल शिक्षण, कश्मीरी में कहेंगे इसको हिच्छुन, क्ष छ में चेंज होता है और श ह में। सो संस्कृत ग्रामेटिकल फीचर्स आर स्टिल फाउंड इन कश्मीरी। वी कैन से जो कश्मीरी भाषा है, यह भाषा, इस भाषा ने अपना जो मतलब पूरा ग्रामर थॉट प्रोसेस एक बड़े झील से प्राप्त किया है। और वो झील क्या थी? वो भारतीय सभ्यता की झील। भारतीयता आज भी कश्मीरी भाषा में आ रही है और है, समाई हुई है। कुछ लोगों का ये कहना है कि नहीं, कश्मीरी तो 14वीं शताब्दी से ही आई है, इसमें देखिए हर कहीं फ़ारसी अरबी की शब्दावली यूज़ होती है। हाँ, फ़ारसी शब्दावली इसमें है, इसमें सेंट्रल एशियन लैंग्वेजेस की शब्दावली भी है। जैसे जो इस वक्त रशिया की समावार एक शब्द है, समावार इज़ एक्चुअली रशियन वर्ड, शॉप इट इज़ आल्सो फ्रॉम रशिया। सो शब्द कहीं से भी आ सकते हैं, लेकिन भाषा का जो स्वरूप है, भाषा का जो अपना वो रंग होता है, वो कभी चेंज नहीं हो। हमारी कश्मीरी भाषा का रंग वही है जो संस्कृत भाषा का रंग है। कितना भी इस पर इन्फ्लुएंस दूसरी भाषाओं का हो, लेकिन इसका जो वो ग्रामर, इसका जो स्ट्रक्चर, वो स्ट्रक्चर वही रहेगा जो इसको सदियों पहले था।
Ratan Temple, which was once upon a time 8 kilometers away from the present capital Srinagar, is now almost in the middle of the expanding town and geographically located inside the army cantonment. Kalhan's Raj Tarangini throws enough light on the antecedents of this temple and the town in which it was situated. In the 10th century AD, Parvar-Sena, the king of Kashmir, had his capital at that place. Due to flooding of Vitasta river, the place used to get inundated and the king shifted his capital 8 kilometers northwards, present-day Srinagar. The old city came to be known as Purandistan, and slowly the name degenerated into Ratan. The temple was made by King Parvasena and stands magnificently in the middle of a spring. The Ratan temple survived the strokes of Sultan Sikandar's xenophobic hammer because, as per some historical records, it was submerged in water of Vitasta during his reign. Today, it is the epitome of art and architecture of the Kashmiri ancient culture. A small temple is located in the Gandarbal district of Jammu and Kashmir on the banks of the world-famous Manaspal Lake. It is around 32 kilometers away from Srinagar city. This temple was dedicated to Lord Shiva. It beautifully stands submerged partially in the clear water of the serene Manaspal Lake. The name Manaspal is said to be a derivative of the word Mansarovar. The delightful temple is roofed like a quadrangular prism. The rooftop adorns the weathered carving of Lord Ganesha. If one takes a plunge into the water of the Manaspal temple, one can feel a 1 foot tall Shivalinga inside the submerged temple. The Detha temple is located in the Uri sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Detha temple is also called the Data temple. This temple is also dedicated to Lord Shiva. The temple thrives at the entrance of the ancient route to the valley through Baramulla and proudly welcomed the devotees. Currently, this temple is located just a few kilometers away from the line of control and the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Sitting at the precincts of the temple, amidst the most pristine Himalayan environments, one can feel the spiritual vibes in the air.
Most notable among the iconoclast rulers was Sultan Sikandar. It can be imagined how many temples and articles of faith would have been destroyed by him so that the title of Butshikan, which means idol breaker, would have been bestowed upon him by the history chronicles. Butshikan ruled from 1389 to 1413 AD and was the sixth ruler of the Shahmiri dynasty. He is known for destroying the iconic temple of Martand and the temple complex of Parihaspura. While on his temple breaking spree, he also did not spare the Shivalinga of Shankaracharya temple. The problem with such fanatic rulers is that their way to the throne is paved by their comparatively moderate predecessors. However, during their rule, they unleash a reign of terror on those subjects who profess different faiths from their own. Most unfortunate reality is that after the exit of such rulers, their successors who are considered more tolerant do not take any steps or initiatives to undo the damage done by these fanatics. In Kashmir, this narrative was enacted by the Islamic rulers who conspired their ways to the throne in the year 1339. It is noteworthy that initially the alien rulers respected local Kashmiri traditions, beliefs and faiths, but slowly, with the ruling power at their command, they started forcible conversions of the masses, and the process reached its crescendo when Sikandar ascended the throne. It has been told by the historians that such was the hatred of Sultan for the Hindu temples that when he was not able to destroy the sprawling temple complex of Sun Temple of Martand, he ordered it to be stuffed with wood and set it on fire. It kept on burning for months together. The heat managed to blow off the roof, but the pilasters and the walls still exist to tell the tale of the past grandeur of the temple and the science of astronomy, of which this temple was a living example. It took 480 long years of Islamic rule to end in Kashmir, and with the advent of Sikh and Hindu rule, when the period of persecution of the original inhabitants of Kashmir Valley ended. With that started the rebuilding, restoration and renovation process of those ancient monuments which were mentioned in the historic document Raj Tarangini, written by Kalhan.
Kalhan's Raj Tarangini mentions the sacred spring of Tulamula as Mata Ragini Kund. From ancient times, the temple had remained a pilgrimage center of great importance. Today, the temple restored by Maharaja Ranbir Singh is known as Kheer Bhavani. Every year, people from far-off places congregate here to celebrate the annual fair. Alongside the idol of Mother Goddess, a Shivalinga has also been consecrated. The phenomena of Shiv Shakti, which is believed to be the cause of creation and sustenance of the universe, is very well manifested through the idols. An interesting belief is that the water of the temple spring, which normally looks blue, turns dark red or black in case of any impending calamity in Kashmir. Nagbal temple is located in the town of Anantnag. Historically, it is one of the oldest established towns in the world. Some estimates trace the antiquity of the town to around 5000 years BC. Neelmat Puran has mentioned Nagbal Spring, on which today a temple complex is situated. The renovation of the temple has been done by second Dogra ruler Maharaja Ranbir Singh and further additions made by his son Maharaja Pratap Singh. The Kashmiris constructed most of their temples around natural springs. The wise men of Kashmir wanted to perpetuate a practice of energizing the water with positive energy. They knew that though the elixir of life, excess flow of water, can result in floods and cause destruction of life, hence the thought of imparting positive energy. From time immemorial, people have been thronging the Nagpal temple to take a dip in the sulfur spring situated alongside with clear water spring. The sulfur spring, holding medicinal values, still cures many a kind of skin disease. In the Martand area, there are two ancient temples dedicated to the sun god. One is on a higher plateau and lying in ruins, and another is just 2 kilometers away from the ancient one. The second temple is in renovated form and also popularly known as the Mutton Temple.
जय मार्तंडनाथ भगवान की जय हो। जिस स्थान पर आप आके बैठे हैं, इस स्थान का वास्तविक नाम जो है मार्तंड है। मार्तंड का अपभ्रंश हो गया है। आधुनिक काल में अब ये मटन नाम से प्रसिद्ध हो गया है, लेकिन लिखने में हर जगह मार्तंड ही लिखते हैं। मार्तंड भगवान सूर्य का नाम है।
The Pandits in the Mutton Temple historically have been chroniclers of the family history of the devotees who were visiting the temples and those pilgrims who used to come here en route to their pilgrimage to the Amarnath shrine. For past many centuries, it was practice amongst the Pandits of the temple to visit the devotees in plains during winters. During their visits, the Pandits would collate the data of the new additions of the family and would reconcile the same in their family history accounts.
और इस पानी की एक बड़ी विशेषता है, जितनी गर्मी बढ़ती जाती है उतना ये ठंडा होता जाता है, और जितनी सर्दी पड़ती है उतना ये गर्म हो जाता है। और इस पानी का जो उगम है वो शेषनाग, यहाँ से कोई 80 किलोमीटर दूर शेषनाग झील से ये नीचे 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 दरिया बन के सूर्य चरणों से नीचे निकल के बाहर चलता रहता है। यहाँ आकर ये जो मछलियाँ आप देख रहे हैं कुंड में, ये बिल्कुल पितृ रूपी पवित्र मछलियाँ हैं। इनको यहाँ किसी भी संप्रदाय का कोई भी व्यक्ति न पकड़ेगा, न छेड़ेगा, न कभी खाएगा। हाँ, कभी कोई मर भी जाती है तो उसको हम निकाल के मिट्टी में दबा देते हैं। तो यही है कश्यप पत्नी आदिति के 13वें पुत्र का स्थान, 13वें सूर्य का स्थान। इसी का नाम मार्तंड है। बोलो मार्तंड भगवान की जय।
A hillock in Srinagar city, Hari Parbat, has many temples. One of the famous ones is the Sharika Chakreshwar temple. This temple is just outside the famous Hari Parbat fort in Srinagar city. This deity is the presiding deity of Kashmir. The temple is called Siddha Pita or Shakti Pita. Navratra is the festival annually performed here. The Cosmic Mother here represents the solar energy, having 7 components, 7 worlds, 7 colors of light, 7 rishis of Veda Vidya. The energy here is personified as solar energy. This serene temple stands proudly at the foothills of the Gopadari hill and the iconic Shankaracharya temple. Rebuilt during the Hindu Dogra rule, this temple is also a Shakti Pitha. Like any other Shakti Pitha in the valley, it has a Shiv temple within the precincts of the temple. As is the pattern of any other temple in Kashmir, one can spot a clear water spring in the compound of the temple with a Shivalinga right in the center. The Zeshta Mata temple is located between the famous Dal Lake and the Himalayan foothills in the Srinagar city. This temple is visited by followers from within the country as well as from outside the country. Zeshta Mata is said to be the goddess of protection. It has been a tradition to offer cooked yellowish rice, which is called tehar in Kashmiri, on all Thursdays during the month of Zeshta. This famous ancient shrine of Kashmir for worldly people is a place for attaining Siddhi, Riddhi and Buddhi in all fields, which means attainment of spiritual power, prosperity and intellect respectively. Each of these temples had their own tale to tell, stories and facts etched in the memoir of the resurrected past of Kashmir. Just like these temples, an isolated locale of Kashmir has thousands of years of intellect and knowledge, which can still be felt in the air.
I would also like to speak about an important place, which Arnag, which is at a distance of about 10 or 12 kilometers from the main city, on the way to Amarnath cave. We are told that the yatris going to Amarnath used to stay here for as one staying place, or what we call the Padav, one staying place. Now about Vicharnag, the story goes that this locality was predominated by the people, by the scholars who were well versed in the astronomical science of ancient Kashmir, because the calendar which is being published in Kashmir today talks of the Kashmiri era. It is something 5,000 and something. That means this calendar has maintained the story of Kashmir since 5,000 years. This is the calendar. And in Vicharnag, I think that there should have been an institute where astronomy was taught, because there are indications that astronomical sciences remain confined to that locality. And there are still people in Kashmir who have continued, the Pandits have continued this calendar for their festivals and for their astronomical studies, and in this way it has perpetuated for a long time till date. I think more research should be done on the importance of Vicharnag as the seat of astronomical sciences from where it originated.
Some of the ancient temples which could not be restored during the Dogra rule are now in the process of being restored. The devotees and Hindu pilgrims who have utmost faith in the age-old culture, which actually speaking is Kashmiriyat, want to see the ancient glory of their temples being restored.
A temple at Gopitirth in the Srinagar city has been rebuilt in the recent times. It is augmented with the presence of a sulfur spring. One can even find a few relics from the former temple exhibited here. An ancient temple at Gupta Ganga in Srinagar city, which was spotted in the army cantonment, is in the process of getting rebuilt. Shiva Linga from an ancient temple was found here and is going to be consecrated in the new temple. One of the temples at Uri, called the Pandav temple, is also in the renovation process. River Sindhu and Vitasta, around which the Vale of Kashmir exists, have their confluence at a place called Naran Bagh. Greyish color of the river Sindhu and bluish green color of the river Vitasta are clearly visible. Suya, the able engineer of King Avantivarman, by his skill shifted the position of Vitasta, Sindhu Sangam, from Parihaspora, Trigami area to its present location in the vicinity of Sundari Bhavna by forcing the course of Vitasta north eastwards by blocking its original course with embankments to reclaim the cultivable land from the flood-prone areas and marshes. A Vishnu temple by the name of Yoga Swamin was also built by Suya at the insistence of King Avantivarman. This temple also might have met the same fate at the hands of the intolerant iconoclasts as was meted out to innumerable other temples in the Vale of Kashmir. At present, however, a small Shiva temple has been made by the devotees, and they seem to be determined to rebuild a temple at the old site matching the magnificence of the original one. Cultures evolve and are nurtured and enriched by generations after generations. Kashmiriyat too has been existing for around 10,000 years. Knowledge and spirituality will keep on emanating from the soil of Kashmir as the pristine rivers Sindhu and Vitasta will keep on flowing out of it. How the present and future generations of Kashmir imbibed the values of peaceful coexistence, love for nature, and scientific temperament of their ancestors, time alone will tell.